Hey guys, this is my second time trying to record this because I have eyes that are watering, nose that's running, so bear with me here. So I was wanting to make this video and kind of tell you about some of my family, I guess, and past. So my grandfather, we'll start there. He was I cannot think of the word. He was a professor. There we go. Anyone else get those mind blocks? He was a professor when my mom was growing up. At different colleges, he was very smart. His IQ was very high, I'm told. Too bad I didn't get that IQ, but no one so far in my family. I think the closest were my mom. Yeah, I can't remember who was next. But anyways, um, so he was a professor, so he moved a lot for work. He also, when my mom was little, he was in the service. So again, they always moved a lot. So then he found his calling with the Seventh Day Adventist church, uh, which was a very small group of people, it sounded like, but they didn't believe in wearing jewelry. They didn't wear makeup. They didn't, very simple. They did not do anything on Sabbath, which they believe is Saturday. So he was a principal in an elementary school. I don't know if it was fully elementary because I know there was different grades in like one classroom, because it was a very small school. So he did that. And he was, and I think involved in the newspaper somehow. So he got to meet some, and my mom got to meet like JFK and, just different presidents and different famous people that he would interview or, be around. So obviously he was not perfect. They would move to a new area and then they would buy a house because houses were cheaper back then. And he would do, oh, I can remodel the kitchen. What do you want it to look like? And my poor grandma would have to take the dishes in the basement to wash them and back up to put them away. And none of the projects ever got done. And was, of course, my grandfather was not perfect. We all, no one's up, nobody's perfect, right? So, so yeah, so that was my first, and of course, I wasn't around to see him preach or anything like that. So, but always, he sounded cool. It would have been cool to meet him, obviously. So then, uh, as um, I grew up in I went to different churches, but I grew up mainly in Central Church of Christ. Uh, and so that uh, was where I grew up going to, um, which was fine. Then, when I was growing up, so I grew up, yeah, in Central Church of Christ, and um, loved it. Loved my church people. Loved my church. But I'm not saying I didn't go to other churches because I moved a lot growing up. Oh, did I move a lot? Yeah, I have lived so many people, places. You wouldn't even believe it at this point. Because they're not always joyful places. Let's put it that way. Uh, yeah. So, but yeah, my main church, the one that I called home, was Central Church of Christ. And so, as I was growing up, my uncle, who is my mom's brother, just to point that out, he was a pilot for the airports and Yeah, a wonderful pilot. People still rave about him and still know about him to this day. But he one day decided his calling was not that anymore. His calling was to minister to people. So, yes, he gave up his pretty set career uh, and started telling God's word and became a minister. Now, when he first started, I'm not even sure. We used to go see, like, we used to go. He didn't have his own church. We borrowed a church that actually my grandma went to. So the Seventh Day Adventist church, he would use it, and we would go in the evening. Now I was probably 4 or 5 years old when we did this, and we would light candles and sing, and I loved to sing back then. And we had tambourines, and I don't know what else we had, maybe maracas. And they had in the church the little blue, or not little, the big blue Bible stories that I was always obsessed with. Of course, I couldn't read at that point, but I loved these books. The pictures were amazing. And so we would go there in the evening to support my uncle. Plus, it wasn't as formal as most churches, like in the morning. So a lot of people would show up. We got quite a few people. And he would do church service. And of course, I was so outgoing when I was little, actually. Believe it or not, I was not shy. Um, which you might see me on these and say you're not shy, but I am, actually. So yeah, so I was not a shy little girl, believe me. Um, Everybody was my friend. Or I thought they were. And I wanted cookies from everybody, so sounds about right, right? So, I loved to sing, and so I would go up in front and I would sing my heart out. And then after service, we all got to blow out the candles and help with that. So that was nice. So then, that's how my uncle got his start. And then he moved on in his town. He lives in I don't want to say it's a small town, but it's not one that I ever really hung out in. They had a Christian college. They did. It's closed down now. And so he lived in this town as far as I can ever remember. And he ended up getting his own church. It was a small uh, wooden floor. When you walk through the church, definitely heard the floor creaking and cracking, but it was a beautiful church. So he ended up getting his own church, and I can't remember what denomination or if it was one. And he became the pastor there. I call it minister. I don't know. Sorry. So he got his church, and his church was not a very big church. I mean, I don't even think they really had any kids that went there. But people from this town went there, and they came to love my uncle and look up to him and trust him. And he always tried to help anybody that he could, uh, which is great. I mean, he really became their friends. He also ended up working for hospice. And I think anything else he did. So he used to go to the nursing home, actually, that my grandma was in for like 9 or 10 years, and probably went there before then. And he would play piano and do Bible study, but he also was a hospice person. So yeah, so he did that for many years. And sometimes, I mean, I went to his church a few times, uh, growing up. And when my grandma did pass, we had her memorial at his church. And his church people were amazing because they all had such nice things to say about my grandma. Because some of them worked at the nursing home, so they knew her. Um, anyway, so yeah, so that is so far, and I'm sure there's other ministers in my family, but those are the ones I know of. And so yeah, so again, I remember, and maybe the rest of you, if you're my age, growing up, and people would say, especially kids, you know, oh, I'm Christian, but then they're in school cussing and screaming and, everything else. Being mean to other kids, picking on other kids. But then they're sitting, they were sitting in church on Saturday or Sunday, with their parents, which, yeah, it was their parents making them go. I get it. But, I think that was horrible. I still think it's horrible, obviously. Um, I know none of us are perfect. I mean, obviously, I'm not. But, I never picked on really other kids. I don't think, if I did, I apologize for that. I always took up for kids. Anyway, so, yeah. So that's how my grandfather became a minister. That's how my uncle became a minister. So, unfortunately, he did pass away last year in 2024, sorry, in August. He ended up having a heart attack 1 year. Before that, it was like a few years, maybe 5, 10 years. And he was a health person, really dependent on the health, not health care, but like natural stuff. And he never went to the cardiologist. He never went, to anyone to get his heart checked. He was in denial that he had a heart attack because he was one of the healthiest people I have ever met. And so in 2024, he kept complaining his legs were swollen and he just didn't feel good, and he thought it was, the cough, right? Because he had it before. And it ended up that it was congestive heart failure, which as soon as I heard swollen legs, I kind of already figured. That is also how my grandfather passed away. So we don't have the best hearts in our family. I've had heart surgery. My brother's had heart surgery. So typically we don't have the best hearts in our family, as you guys can, but yeah, so he is greatly missed, obviously, and the church is still going on, and his wife is still living. He was married to this woman who, when I say I have never seen a love like these two, I haven't seen a love like these two. They were, I don't even know how many years they were together. I mean, forever. Never had any kids, but they loved each other like you wouldn't believe. And when he got sick, he had a choice to get a heart surgery that is for bad, like really bad hearts. He denied it and decided to go to hospice because in the same building she was, because she had dementia. He was there trying to take care of her. And he decided to give up the heart surgery, I think, because I think he felt like there was no reason to live, and at least he got to live the rest of what he had life with her in the nursing home / hospice, and that's what happened. So she is still there, she's still living, and he had appointed people to take care of her from the church, and they are doing a great job. So, yeah, so that's my story. I will recommend, if you guys do like Christian music, there is one. I cannot remember his name. Even Dawn something. So look it up. The CD is called Give Thanks. and there's a bunch of songs on it, and you can Google it on YouTube. I think it's the first CD that shows up, called Give Thanks, and there's like 17 songs on it. Now, that is a CD that is close to my heart. Those are songs that are close to my heart. Typically, if you know Church of Christ, they don't have the most upbeat songs. And this is not from Church of Christ. This is a CD I grew up with, listening to, and it is one of the most amazing CDs ever. So if you guys are into Christian music or like a little upbeat, check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think about this CD. I'd love to hear. Talk to you guys later. Bye.